We're finally here, the 5th and final season of the classic Sailor Moon anime, Sailor Stars. Welcome back to Otaku Daikun, Dai here. This is the last part of a video series covering the lore of the classic Sailor Moon anime. If you haven't already, definitely check out the previous 4 videos, as this one will bring the series to its close. Sailor Stars is especially exciting for anime fans in the West, as it never originally aired on TV, censored or otherwise, which is sad because it's absolutely gorgeous and cranks things up to a whole new level. Last season, the Inner Guardians in Chibiusa took down the Dead Moon Circus. Their leader, Queen Nehelenia, decided to return to being confined to a mirror, preserving her youth in isolation on the new moon. One might think that'd be the end for her, but nope, she's still got a grudge. A voice calls out to her, telling her it'd be a shame to keep her beauty locked away. Nehelenia returns by forming her own dream mirror, and obeying the voice's command by shattering it. Its pieces fall to earth, getting in people's eyes and brainwashing them. Everyone's grown a bit since Nehelenia's prior retreat, as Usagi and her friends are now in high school. Chibiusa is once again attempting to return to Crystal Tokyo, but stops when she sees the mirror's shards falling like stars. One of them enters Mamoru's eye, but the group doesn't realize how dire this is. Well, beyond the fact that glass is sharp. The Outer Guardians witness the shards as well, with one of them cutting Haruka's hand. Michiru kisses the wound and spits the glass out, only to discover it growing into one of Nehelenia's minions. Looks like all the Guardians are joining this new fight. Oddly enough, this includes Hotaru, who was last reborn as an infant entrusted to her father's care. Despite being a child, she still maintains a connection to the Guardians. This is kinda neat, but it also means that Hotaru still has a role to play in protecting the galaxy. To prepare her for this task, Setsuna comes to claim her from Tomoe. Seems cruel, taking a baby away from her parent, but in the anime's defense, Tomoe was killed in the manga. Pick your poison, I suppose. For Hotaru to enter the fray as a fully fledged Guardian, she winds up aging rapidly, kinda like a homunculus. That said, even as a baby, she's hella powerful. Part of Hotaru's growth involves her regaining the memories she had from Sailor Moon S, including her friendship with Chibiusa. She also senses impending doom for Sailor Moon. Usagi's too busy worrying about Mamoru, however. That glass shard in his eye is really messing him up. Bad timing, too, since the Guardians can't seem to defeat their new mirror foes. Thankfully, Hotaru tells Usagi that she has yet to awaken to the Moon Princess's true powers. The Guardians combine their energy into the Crisis Moon Compact, transforming it into the Eternal Moon Article. This allows Usagi to transform into Eternal Sailor Moon, complete with an upgraded moon rod, the Eternal Tiare. She now has access to one of her strongest attacks, Starlight Honeymoon Therapy Kiss. While this saves the day, Nehelenia still lurks through possessing Mamoru. In fact, she compels Mamoru to buy a ton of mirrors, ultimately pulling him into one. With Mamoru in genuine danger, the possibility of a future without Chibiusa begins to encroach upon reality. If the Guardians don't save him, Chibiusa will disappear. Recklessly, Usagi transforms and takes off into space towards Nehelenia's ruined kingdom. The other Guardians follow via Sailor Teleport, but are scattered by a barrage of mirror shards. Despite their best efforts, the Guardians are ultimately playing into Nehelenia's trap, each being sealed away into separate mirrors. Usagi becomes brainwashed and nearly succumbs to Nehelenia's will, but Makoto catches up with them and shields her. Makoto continues to fight, enduring Nehelenia's attacks while proclaiming the importance of friendship. Nehelenia, who is all alone, retaliates, displacing one of Makoto's rose earrings. The image of a rose reminds Usagi of Mamoru and breaks her brainwashing. With Makoto sealed away, Usagi proceeds to Nehelenia's palace, but it turns out Hotaru and Chibiusa reach the throne room first. Hotaru finally struts her stuff as a Guardian, attacking Nehelenia with Silence Wall and Silence Glaive. The glaive, however, if used at full power, will destroy both Hotaru and Nehelenia, so Chibiusa forces her to stop midway. Thus, when Usagi arrives, Nehelenia is relishing in her assumed victory, caressing Mamoru as Chibiusa vanishes. Surrounded by the mirrors of her friends, Usagi breaks down in tears. Mind you, Nehelenia's always been corrupted by jealousy, first for the Moon Kingdom, and now for Usagi's happiness. Before this jealousy set in, she was innocent, adoring the love her people gave her. It was only out of fear that she would lose this love by aging, consumed by loneliness, that she turned to a life of evil. Thus, even as Nehelenia beats and torments Usagi, she is met not with hatred, but sympathy. Usagi, with tears streaming down her face, admits she couldn't handle that kind of loneliness and accepts Nehelenia's hatred, begging only for her friends to be spared, hoping to sate that loneliness by being friends. Nehelenia's influence weakens, allowing the Guardians, Mamoru, and even Chibiusa to return. With the power of eternal Sailor Moon, Nehelenia is defeated through healing, given the chance to start over from childhood. Her beautiful dream of wanting a friend is fulfilled. With this crisis averted, Chibiusa finally returns to the future of Crystal Tokyo, leading the Guardians of the modern era to face the anime's ultimate evil, Chaos. That's right, Chaos, the true source of all evil in the galaxy. The manga even notes that Chaos is the true mastermind behind all of Sailor Moon's battles, from the Dark Kingdom to the Dead Moon Circus. Thus, we have to go back even further than the Silver Millennium. So, the Earth and the Moon are cool and all, and we've got this neat solar system, but we're nothing compared to the scope of our entire Milky Way galaxy. There's a lot of planets, and it turns out lots of those planets have their own respective Sailor Guardians. The fight between good and evil has been occurring on a much larger scale all this time. By far, the most significant of these battles was the Sailor Wars, in which the Guardians collectively fought against Chaos for centuries. To put an end to the bloodshed, one of these Guardians, Sailor Galaxia, thought to seal Chaos away in the safest place she could rely on, her own body. Thus, Galaxia, the strongest of all the Guardians, thrust her sword into Chaos and absorbed it within herself. While valiant, her efforts were perhaps too ambitious, as with the passage of time, her every heartbeat brought forth temptation and internal strife. The fight hadn't ended at all, it simply relocated to inside her body, and it gradually began to corrupt her very soul. By the time she had realized this, it was too late to stop Chaos entirely, so she protected her soul by releasing it in the form of a star seed, leaving her body to be taken over by Chaos. This soulless Galaxia went on a rampage, ravaging entire civilizations in search of starseeds under the name Star Galaxia. Her golden bracelets, once a tool for saving the universe, kept her soulless body alive and acted as a means of forcibly extracting the starseeds from other Sailor Guardians. The seeds from the Guardians, or true starseeds, are inherently stronger with a permanent shine. Star Galaxia coveted them most, hoping to gather the powers of their respective planets. She made minions of the Guardians who chose to follow her in exchange for the bracelet's power. Kept alive by Galactica bracelets of their own, these Sailor Animamates served Star Galaxia in gathering star seeds. Those who didn't join her died upon losing their seeds, resulting in very few survivors. Some of these survivors, however, were a group of Sailor Guardians called the Sailor Starlights. After Star Galaxia destroyed their home planet of Kinmoku, the three Guardians, Sailor Starmaker, Sailor Starfighter, and Sailor Star Healer, fled to Earth in search of their planet's Princess Kakyu. While women in their Guardian forms, the Starlights take on genuine male bodies when disguised on Earth as the rock band Three Lights. Their names are Taiki, Seiya, and Yaten, respectively. Sadly, their terrestrial visit intersects with Galaxia's campaign, as she too sets her sights on Earth. In fact, it was her voice that roused the sealed Nehelenia. Essentially, everything has been building up to this fight, with the Moon Kingdom's remains being the galaxy's final hope against Chaos. Shit gets real quite quickly. Mamoru parts with Usagi in order to study abroad in America. Tragically, this leaves him vulnerable as Galaxia's first victim. Galaxia steals his golden starseed, representing the Earth's Golden Kingdom, effectively killing him so that she can gain access to the planet. Yup, Mamo's dead, though it's not like it's the first time. This sets in motion the typical battle plan. Galaxia dispatches the Sailor Animamates, who in turn extract people's starseeds in search of the true starseeds. When these victims prove to be ordinary humans, they turn into monsters called Phages, whom the Guardians, alongside the Starlights, must defeat in order to, well, restore order. The first among the Animamates is Sailor Iron Mouse, who both looks and sounds completely unintimidating. Usagi doesn't realize her boyfriend is dead, and continues to write letters to him while Seiya tries to romance her at school. High school hijinks ensue, as the Starlights blend in as transfer students and idols. As expected, Iron Mouse racks up failure after failure, prompting Galaxia to pull her plug, aka confiscating her bracelets. This is a shame too, since she was just about to figure out who to actually target next. Typical villainous irony. After fighting alongside Sailor Moon, Seiya finally discovers her true identity. You know, I say that, but Seiya's probably one of the quickest to notice. Poor Iron Mouse is replaced by Sailor Aluminum Siren and Sailor Lead Crow, who operate as affectionate rivals. Now, this is a large departure from the manga, but we need to return to Galaxia's starseed. You know, the soul she ejected to avoid being corrupted by chaos. With all the fighting going down on Earth, Galaxia's starseed manifests in the form of a little girl, Chibi Chibi, who bears a striking resemblance to Chibiusa. Heck, she even infiltrates Usagi's home through brainwashing. The group suspects Chibi Chibi of being another of Neo Queen Serenity's children, but are left scratching their heads. Regardless, Usagi welcomes her far more quickly than she did her actual daughter. Oof, cute though. In a fight against one of the Fages, Usagi drops her eternal tiare and Chibi Chibi picks it up, causing her to transform into Sailor Chibi Chibi. This bundle of adorably shiny fluff actually upgrades Usagi's weapon, making it the Moon Power Tiare. Sailor Moon can now use her strongest healing attack, Silver Moon Crystal Power Kiss. Aluminum Siren and Lead Crow lure Usagi and the Starlights into an airplane under the excuse of premiering a film the three lights had filmed prior. While Seiya already knew Usagi's identity, everyone is forced to transform in front of each other. After another failure, though, Galaxia kills off Sailor Aluminum Siren, replacing her with Tin Nyanko. Every time one of them gets close to the true starseeds, Galaxia gives up on them. For someone who's been fighting to conquer the world for centuries, you'd think Chaos would be more patient. I mentioned earlier that the Sailor Starlights are searching for their Princess Kakyu. Turns out, Kakyu ventured to Earth in search of what is called the Light of Hope, which she believes is the only thing capable of defeating Star Galaxia. In order to avoid detection and find the Light of Hope, Kakyu hides within an incense burner carried by Chibi Chibi. She makes her appearance known to save Usagi from peril. Lead Crow finally gets the idea to steal the starseed of one of the Guardians, and convinces Usagi to give up hers after ferociously whipping her friends. Crow procures Usagi's seed by threatening to unleash a black hole upon the school. Even though Usagi complies, Crow accidentally opens up the hole anyway. It consumes her entirely, and extends to swallow Usagi and Chibi Chibi, but they are saved when Kakyu comes to their rescue. Kakyu is able to inform everyone about Galaxia's malicious campaign across the galaxy. They learn that the Animamates, when given their bracelets, were effectively being manipulated by Galaxia, and so Usagi tries to heal the last minion, Nyanko. Her Silver Moon Crystal Power Kiss strikes half of Nyanko. As a result, Nyanko is torn between her role as a Sailor Guardian and as Galaxia's pawn. This prompts Galaxia to take matters into her own hands, killing Nyanko before targeting Kakyu. Effectively, Kakyu gives her life defending from Galaxia's attacks. She loses her starseed and dies protecting the Starlights, all while Usagi's attacks do nothing to harm Galaxia. It becomes an all-out brawl as Galaxia tears through the city amassing starseeds. She's certainly more efficient than her minions ever were. The Starlights, with nothing left to live for, plan to avenge their princess by confronting Galaxia at the Ginga TV building. There, Galaxia isolates them in a separate dimension, showing their fight on the station's TV screens to the other Guardians. Usagi and her friends are left watching as Galaxia beats down the Starlights, until Sailor Chibi Chibi Moon uses her power to teleport them into the dimension. Sailor Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, and Venus step in to protect the Starlights, but are continually blasted by Galaxia until, one after the other, they are killed. As Usagi cries out, Galaxia reveals the true starseeds she's collected, including Mamoru's golden one. Usagi finally learns that her lover has been dead this entire season. Usagi and the Starlights manage to escape Galaxia's dimension. Morale is at an all-time low, but Setsuna convinces the Starlights to confide in Usagi and the power of the Moon Kingdom. Meanwhile, Haruka and Michiru go off on their own to confront Galaxia. As expected, their efforts are futile. The Guardians can barely manage to stay on the defense. Setsuna declares that she will die trying to protect the Earth, only to learn that she has Galaxia to thank for being alive in the first place. Without Nehelenia's return, Hotaru would never have grown back into a Guardian, and perhaps this is just my own headcanon, but I like to believe this is also how Setsuna wound up coming back after her death in Sailor Moon S. As far as I can tell, there was never really a good explanation for that. Basically, Galaxia, or Chaos really, wanted to revive the fallen Guardians in order to steal their starseeds. Just like the Animamates, Galaxia offers the Guardians their own bracelets if they willingly give up and serve her. Setsuna and Hotaru refuse, but Haruka and Michiru stand up to accept the offer. They reason that so long as they're together, they don't mind assigning themselves to hell. While the bracelets keep them alive after forfeiting their seeds, they are also compelled to fight on Galaxia's side. They attack Setsuna and Haruka, killing them both just as Usagi and the Starlights arrive on the battlefield once more. After some more infighting, Usagi receives a vision, confirming Haruka and Michiru inherited bracelets as a strategy to beat Galaxia. Sure enough, the two encourage Usagi and the Starlights to keep fighting, before regaining control of their senses and firing their bracelets back at Galaxia. They'd hoped to extract Galaxia's starseed, but as we already know, that body doesn't have one anymore. Their plan fails as Galaxia removes their bracelets, killing them. They tenderly touch hands as they embrace their end. Usagi is on the verge of giving up, thinking that in death, she could at least see her friends again. Yet the Starlights continue to encourage her, suggesting she might be the light of hope they've been searching for. Galaxia, on the other hand, declares that she is the light of hope, and now that she's been corrupted, there is no hope. After learning that Galaxia is a fellow Sailor Guardian, Usagi tries to reason with her, but it's a fruitless effort. The Starlights concentrate their attacks, and manage to wound Galaxia, but lose traction when Galaxia uses her sword to blast them away. Usagi tries to heal Galaxia with Silver Moon Crystal power, calling upon the power of her own starseed, only to have it seized by the enemy. She collapses, covered only by ribbons. As Galaxia raises her sword to impale Usagi, she discovers Chibi Chibi praying and releasing a bright light. She recognizes this light as her own starseed, and is distracted, allowing Usagi's seed to return. Chibi Chibi declares herself the light of hope, and merges with Usagi's starseed, turning her into Princess Serenity for a final showdown. The seed itself turns into a sword to match Galaxia's. With the sword in hand, Usagi grows wings, and Galaxia comes to attack after sprouting her own black wings. Of course, Usagi instead tries to talk it out, even though Chibi Chibi claims it's too late for a peaceful resolution. With no other choice, Usagi uses her sword for defense, and scores a stab at Galaxia's wing, but in exchange, her sword is shattered. The Starlights watch from the ground as Usagi continues to advocate for peace, claiming her pride as a guardian doesn't mean anything if it involves hurting others. She asserts that her friends are still with her, and that she knows deep down Galaxia loves the world too. By continually appealing to Galaxia's inner light, Usagi begins to overcome Chaos's corruption, little by little, until finally, her light breaks through the dark, returning Galaxia to her true self. Chaos disperses into the hearts of everyone in the galaxy, but Usagi feels this is okay since the light of hope is also within everyone. She asks Galaxia for the star seeds, freeing them across the galaxy. Galaxia vanishes, leaving Usagi all alone to cry in solitude. Beyond her expectations, however, the star seeds revive their owners' bodies, bringing Rei, Ami, Minako, Makoto, Haruka, Michiru, Hotaru, and even Mamoru back to life. They congratulate Usagi, having faith in her loving heart to save the world. The Starlights watch as their own princess comes back in a joyous reunion. With chaos dispersed, the Starlights and Kakyu return to their home planet. The other Guardians watch their departure as shooting stars in the night sky. Lastly, the series ends with Usagi sharing a well-earned kiss with Mamoru. While Usagi and the other Guardians will still be fighting for love and justice, it seems they've truly reached a moment of peace, as after all these years, there hasn't been a sequel to this sentimental finale. It's truly fitting, and I love every bit of it. It's definitely true that a show can overstay its welcome, so I'm glad that things have ended this way. Naturally, this anime took quite a few liberties over its manga, as the two were often being written in tandem. Like many anime of the same ilk, it has its fair share of filler episodes. But while the manga and Crystal may be more accurate to the original story, the aesthetic and charm of this classic series will always be my favorite. As such, I'm ending my lore of Sailor Moon, because I want to share with you what I'm most passionate about. That said, there are plenty of resources out there for you to do further research, and Crystal is widely available to watch, with its Eternal movie to be released in the near future. Hopefully, this has served as a great recap and dive into the 90s anime, and I highly encourage you all to check out the series for yourselves, if you never had the luxury of growing up with it. Thanks for watching! If you enjoy this channel, help me beat the algorithm by liking, commenting, and sharing the video, subscribing to Otaku Daikun, and, most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of my anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content. If you want to support me directly, there are now 3 ways that all provide the same benefits. You can click Join here on YouTube, or join Patreon or Subscribestar for access to exclusive vids and early access. As always, celebrate your fandom!